to 102.3. Here without the fun, where we playeth nothing but chance, and more chance. This are not thine elder matriarch station.
Hello everyone. Welcome back in. Happy Friday. How's it going? Cookcrafter, good to see you. Romans, good to see you. Welcome on in, everybody. Yeah, that voice, that was Mountain Manny. Someone I ran across on TikTok. And reminded me a lot of Silver Sun Pickups, and it was kind of like reminded me of a mix between Silver Sun Pickups and She Wants Revenge. So really enjoyed the vibe of that song. So I'm continually looking for or keeping my ears open for new music. That I really like the vibe of, and try to share it here every now and then during the intro. So yeah, that was Mountain Manny, Into the Void. I should really just make that a radio show, like the library's radio show, and just have like an actual DJ start to it. All right. Well, we finished up the last project, specifically the Woolman miniatures, and now I've only got one stream before Origins, so I don't want to start on a brand new project, really. But I did, on my own time, start working on some painting up some some Red Corsairs, Space Marines. So we'll just work away on a couple of these while we're hanging out tonight, and later on we do have the community spotlight. So after the first break, we'll still dive into that and take a look at what everybody's been working on. Just a reminder, I will be gone next week and most likely not streaming at all, because I will be at Origins Game Fair teaching classes, and also working the paint and take table like I usually do. This will be year 3 or 4. I think it's 3 or 4. I can't remember. I think it's year 3. This will be year 3 of doing that, and also obviously teaching some classes there as well. So we'll just hang out tonight, see how long we'll hang out after the community spotlight. So if you have anything you want to show off, anything you've been working on, either miniatures or other form of art, feel free to either post in the Twitch chat or post it in our works in progress area in our Discord. And after the first break here in about an hour, we will do a community. We'll take a look at it. So we are early days here in this particular paint job, just kind of mapping out where things are. And I didn't start this out wanting to go fast or slow or wanting to try and do anything in particular. So it's we're just kind of feeling our way through it and enjoying the time working on fundamentals. But also, I haven't painted a Chaos Space Marine in a long time, and the Chaos Space Marines were originally, that was my faction. That was the faction I played in 5th and 6th edition 40k. Specifically the Thousand Suns at first, Although in 5th edition they were just cult marines. They rubric marines were a type of special space marine you could chaos space marine you could take as part of a normal space marine army. They didn't have their own codex at the time. They didn't get their own codex until well after I stopped playing 40k. But that was my first space marine love, and then I got into the word bearers after reading First Heretic. So the word bearers and the Thousand Sons were kind of my my first Chaos Space Marine armies, and the ones I like the most. But here, these Red Corsair models are just beautiful, so we're going to work on these a little bit. Why doesn't this want to stay in focus? I may have to try going back to autofocus, because there are certain projects that I end up moving around so much that my cameras, I can't keep it in the same spot to keep the focus consistent. And I imagine that's pretty frustrating for people who are watching. Yeah, the cover art's really nice. That kind of that really interesting colored skeleton. It's really, really cool. And there was on TikTok, there was no video. It was just that picture and then his music going. I was like, okay, I like the sound of this, and the art seems pretty cool, but there's nothing else. So like, it was it definitely struck me pretty strongly to get me to stay and listen, and then also just start checking out his music otherwise. It's one of the cool things about TikTok, as much as there are many things to not like about it, is the number of artists, small artists that are on there, that are out there making music. I also tend to listen to a lot of old industrial or goth rock, like 80s, 90s goth rock, and there's lots of new bands that are using that same style and kind of experimenting with that, and actually just continually making new music in that older goth rock style that I very much like. And so I've run into a lot of those too. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. Usually it's less people's cup of tea than country music is, so I haven't been playing that during any of those during the demos, but I might, especially some of the more industrial ones. Let's see. Hope everyone's doing well on this beautiful Friday night. If anybody has any questions about Warhammer, miniature painting in general, Necromunda as a setting in a game, or just, wants to talk about books that you've read recently. I know, Cookcrafter, you just said you just finished book 4 of Dungeon Crawler Carl. That's fantastic. How have you enjoyed it so far? Obviously, you've enjoyed it enough to go into 4 books, but as opposed to, DNFing earlier on. You doing okay with everything? The recent video from Wolf Moon and Jackie Evans got its hooks in me. Oh, I'll have to check that out. Wolf Moon and Jackie Evans. Let me paste that up here so I can find that later. How do you, hey, do you have any experience working with oils? I do not, unfortunately. I can speak to general use of oils and their differences between, oil washes and acrylics and some of the things you have to keep in mind when working with oils, but I have not worked with much oils myself. I've spent so many years working with acrylics that I'm scared that I'm going to like oils a lot more. And then it's kind of a sunk cost fallacy. I'm worried that I'm going to like oils so much that I'm gonna abandon the acrylics that I've been working with forever. And oils definitely have some really big advantages in certain ways over acrylics, but I think acrylics have some pretty distinct advantages over oils. Rapid dry time being a major advantage for acrylics, but the slow dry time and long open time of oils makes blending with them, at least conceptually, much easier, and from what I've heard, in reality, much more pleasant, because blending with acrylics is a lot of just very thin coats and physically blending, adding on to the transparency of a paint rather than just, using an oil and saying, okay, well, we're just gonna, we're gonna physically blend these together because we've got, minutes, if not hours of time before they dry. Whereas acrylics, you have to, if you're gonna physically blend, you got to move fast. That's a big difference. But oil washes, from everything I've heard and everything I've seen, are very useful for a lot of people. So that's something I do want to try out. But I've also have friends who actually paint full miniatures in nothing but oils, and that seems like a lot. I'd have to change so much about how I paint and how I approach color and blending and things like that. It'd basically be learning a whole new style of painting that I'm still figuring out acrylics. So, it's mostly me being stubborn for not trying oils. But oil washes, I definitely want to try at some point. I just don't use washes very much right now, because I'm still working on just learning how to paint in my own shadows, paint in my own dark lining, how to manually control all of that before doing anything that gives me less control but speeds things up. I don't know if that makes sense or not. See, I think we're zoomed in a little much for working on such a large section, a large spread of a model. But for anybody who's curious, this is a Red Corsair Reaver Captain. It's one of the HQ choices for the Red Corsair Renegade Space Marines that were released a little bit ago. So Renegade Space Marines don't necessarily worship chaos. Their motivations are a little bit more varied, but often many of them do worship or make use of chaos, as opposed to being, actually dedicated followers of the chaos gods. They have no problem making use of it, but oftentimes the things that lead a Space Marine to become a Renegade Space Marine is disillusionment and conflicting personal goals with the requirements of the Imperium. A lot of Renegade Marines just kind of like, well, I fought for centuries for the Imperium, who ultimately proved that they don't care about me or my sacrifice, so why should I keep fighting for them? I'll fight for my own enrichment and my own priorities. Love that dusty red. Any concepts for unique basing for Death Guard army that's not just slime? Yeah, you could do... yeah, there's a few different things you could do. You could do lots of rusting metal plates and other metal detritus. So you could emphasize... You could be emphasizing the decay of Nurgle in a couple different ways. The decay of metal is one way. So you could just make a really rusty scrapyard underneath them and something like that. You could go with body parts or something like that with lots of fungus. You could just do like a really... you're really not pure slime, but like a really mulchy, disgusting base that's got lots of dark, rich soil with maybe like an arm or some bones in it, and then have mushrooms sticking up out of it, or other forms of Nurgle-like plants. One of the big things that people who are exposed to like Nurgle worlds, the plant life gets mutated a great deal to have things like teeth and eyes and things like that growing out of them. So you could do something similar, just showing, plant life that has been warped by Nurgle in his garden. That's something you could do. For the Barrowborn Nurgle Death Guard Marines, we just kept it pretty straightforward, just kind of dirt and stuff like that. I wasn't trying to go for really crazy basing, but that still works for them. And a big thing with a lot of basing isn't just the details; it's also the color palette. So use the basing as a chance to work in contrasting colors to the main colors of your Nurgle army. That's a way to get them to stand out and get the base to work for you there as well. It's a fantastic idea. Thanks. Going heavy on the rust for oranges would contrast with the green. Absolutely, very much so. What I would recommend is, if you're familiar with the concept of value or saturation, whatever green you have, if it's a really bright, very, very intensely green, don't have really bright, intensely orange rust or yellow rust. The reason for that is oftentimes colors start to clash, or colors start to remind us of Christmas or Halloween when they're the same intent, when two colors are the same intensity. So if red and green are the same intensity, or they're the same brightness, there's the same saturation level, it looks like Christmas. If you do that with green and orange, and especially if you do that with like green, orange, and purple, that can start looking like Halloween. So one thing you can do to combat that is still use those colors, but have a large amount of variation between the intensity and the brightness of that. So if you've got like a really bright green, use dark oranges with maybe a little bit of orange here and there. Use dark purples. If you've got a really dark green, then go with a little bit maybe brighter, but maybe not as intense oranges. Just vary it a little bit. I don't know if that helps or not, but yeah, I'd love to see if you ever get that done and you ever make a video of it, or you want to take pictures. I'd love to see that. I like seeing people's projects and stuff they've been working on. That's why we do a community spotlight after the first hour here on every Friday night. So in about, where to go? In about 35 minutes, we're going to take a break, and then after that, we'll do a community spotlight and show off what people have been sharing in the Discord, and just take a look at what everybody's been doing. So if anybody's ever interested in checking that out, stick around. If you're interested in showing off what you've been working on, you're welcome to share there as well. You hop into the Discord and share. At the end of this month, we are doing a giveaway for some models, for some unpainted models from Woolmandoot, the Woolmandoot line. We just finished painting those here on stream over the last 2 weeks. We're going to be doing a giveaway for those on the Discord as well. So if you're interested in checking those out or seeing those, you can look into the Woolmandoot giveaway channel, and you'll see pictures of the finished models and then instructions on how to enter for the giveaway at the end of the month. And I am doing it through Discord because I'm streaming on multiple different services, so I don't want the giveaway to be limited to people who only participate in one of those services. I want everybody to have a chance if they want it. Certainly no requirement to sign up by any means. See if we can get this red a little bit more intense. Sorry, but do you sell these anywhere? I don't, because I don't paint for other people. But you can buy these. Like you can buy these as these model kits that I'm painting. These are for the game Warhammer, specifically Warhammer 40,000, which is a tabletop war game. But I don't sell the completed ones anywhere. Sometimes I'll give them away. Sometimes we'll do like a fundraiser, and we'll give them away to like a top donator or something like that. But I don't sell them. I spend too much time on them that I wouldn't be able to. Like if I charged for them, for the ones that I spend a lot of time on, I'll spend 50 plus hours painting one tiny little guy. And if I were to charge an hourly rate for 50 hours, no one would buy it. So it's, you know, if you're painting something to the best of your ability, odds are you're gonna charge less than minimum wage, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth the additional stress of like, oh, am I painting something somebody wants to buy, or it's not worth the additional stress of, oh, now I have to paint something somebody paid me for. And I don't really want to paint it, but I accepted the money, so I got to do it. It's just not worth that. It's not worth that to me. I don't want to ruin my relaxation, the thing that brings me joy, by bringing money into it. Hey, Pigman, I saw you. Teal and orange are complimentary. I hate my pics. Oh. Oh, we'll take a look at it here. Cookcraft, you said you're enjoying the Dungeon Crawler Carl books, so starting to get turned off of Carl specifically in then book 3, trying to take a big break from the series. That's fine. The characters has shown growth in the 4th book, and is me coming back around. Good. A lot of the characters grow. Either it seems kind of inconsistent at the rate they grow. Carl and Donut grow a ton over all the books, but so do the other characters, and sometimes it's like it sneaks up on you that all of a sudden, oh, this isn't what this character was like at all, and obviously the things they've gone through have definitely changed them, and I can see that now, but sometimes it all hits you at once that they've grown. Makes sense. Thank you. Why do you lick the brush? It's a bad habit, but it is one of the fastest and easiest ways to get a point back on the brush. The other thing you can do is just after you rinse the brush out. I always lick the brush after I rinse it, but after you rinse the brush out, you can come back here and just the back of your hand and get the tip back, because the tip is very important for such small models. Having that tip and that sharp point on the brush is very important for detail work and precise control of the paint, because the paint we're putting down is very, very thin. It's almost, and sometimes it's almost like watercolors. so it can rush out of the brush very quickly. So you sometimes when you're working with thinner paints like that, sometimes you want a thinner, finer point so you can better control where the paint is being deposited by the capillary action. And then sometimes you just don't care. Sometimes the paint's nice and thick and you're just putting down like a general big old fat layer of paint, and then the sharp tip doesn't matter as much, but it's habit, just trying to keep it going, because the longer the sharp tip persists and the longer I can maintain it without being permanently damaged, the longer life this brush will have, and I won't have to like replace it anytime soon. As soon as that tip starts splaying out and stuff like that, then it starts getting used for washes, and then after washes it'll get used for something like glue, and that'll destroy the rest of the brush. Hey, just got my first set. What paints should I get? Well, Matthew, are you asking what brand of paints, or are you asking what colors? And the first one is really whichever brand of paint is most accessible to you. So if that's Citadel or Warhammer paints, then go for those. Those are good paints. If it's Army Painter, then it is specifically Army Painter Fanatic paints. Go for those. If it's Vaiho Game Color or Vaiho Model Color, go for those. The most important thing in my mind is that you have ready access to the paints should you need a new one, or if you need to replace anything. That's the biggest thing, because all of the big brands of hobby paints, they're all good. Like, none of them are bad. Not anymore. They've all done a good job of working on improving all their formulas, and they're all really close together in terms of their quality now. In the past, I might have told you to stay away from a couple different lines, but that's no longer the case because they've all made big improvements. Brand, yeah, it's whichever one's the most available to you. So if your local game store, or wherever you bought your minis from, or wherever you can buy minis, if they only have Warhammer paints, then I just focus on the Warhammer paints, especially when you're getting started. When you're getting started, the brand of paint isn't going to matter as much, as long as it's a hobby paint. If you're trying to use like craft paints, like Apple Barrel, stuff like that, you can. They will work. They're a lot more work, and you're not going to improve as much because they require a lot more repetitive work, because they're very thin, as in very transparent. They don't cover very well. So I would recommend a hobby paint brand as opposed to something else. But if that's Citadel or Warhammer or Army Painter or Vallejo or AK or P3, there's a bunch of them out there, and they're all pretty darn good. So at this point, just whichever one is the most accessible to you, and then as you become a better and better painter, as you practice and develop your muscle coordination, and you get an idea of how you like to paint, then the different brands and the slight nuances between the different brands might have more of an impact. But right now, none of them are going to have a major impact on your painting because you're just starting out, if that makes sense. Also, the Mini of God has a head, not helmet. How can I paint it without it looking like a blobby mess? Thin your paints. So, one of the things you can do is thin down your paints. And so, like, let's say this example here. So you thin down your paints, you start with your darkest skin tone first for the shadows, and you just paint the whole thing a dark skin tone. Actually, where's my... So this is just a base that's got a bunch of creepy faces on it that I used for explanations. Excuse me. Where'd the skin tones go? So generally, you're going to start out with a darker skin tone for the shadows. And when you're painting miniatures, we do have to overemphasize the shadows and overemphasize the highlights. Otherwise, the human eye isn't going to read the face properly. It's going to look weird. So if I go in, so I'll just paint the entire, let's see, which one do I want to do? Let's just do this one. I want to paint the entire face with my darker skin tone color. So I'm just getting that all over it. And this is the same thing with a full miniature, not just a face. You can do the same thing with skin. And see, now I've got that darker skin tone down. Now we have to wait for it to dry. And when you're waiting for paint to dry, you could use a hair dryer, or you could use compressed air or something else. Acrylic paints dry fairly quickly, but do make sure you're letting the layer dry first before you paint anything else. Because right now, this layer of paint, you can tear it by accident if you brush really hard. So just be light with the painting. And make sure that it dries for a couple minutes. It's mostly dry now. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my lighter skin tone, and I'm going to touch on these more prominent areas like the lips, the chin. But you see I left some shadow between the chin and the lower lip. Yeah, I'm going to give their lips a more rosy color here. Now the bridge of the nose. Come here, the cheekbones. And this takes practice, and it's okay. And then obviously the forehead, the brows. And so you see I'm using thinned down paint in a sharp tip on my brush. And I'm using very small amounts of paint, and I'm not pushing hard. One thing I notice with a lot of people is they push hard with their brush. They're like, when they're painting, they're like painting like this. Don't do that. Use a very, very light touch when you're painting. That is going to get you a lot farther along if you use a light touch when painting. It means you have more control. You're not going to flood the model as much with too much paint, which can happen. And yeah, I thought Optimus Prime. I think I'm winning. I'm answering questions, which is my preferred thing to do here on stream, is answering people's questions, especially people that are just starting out. It makes me happy to be able to teach and share. So I'd say I'm winning. And then we go with a slightly brighter skin tone, and you can create lighter skin tones by mixing in white or other light colors in here. So now I'm going to take that brighter skin tone, and we'll just go over the tip of the nose, the brow, the top of the forehead here. Areas that are going to catch some light, the cheekbones, the top of the cheekbones. Right here, but I'm not going to touch anywhere else. I'm going to go down here to the chin. With the cheekbones, we'll draw some down here into these creases on either side of the mouth. And then I'll take my other color here, and we'll just... That's the darker color we had before this lighter color. And you see just how light my brush strokes are. I'm not going very heavily or anything like that. Let's see. Do you ever go crazy on canvases, or only like your current art? Really only the current art, unless I'm doing like a backdrop for a competition piece. That's really the only time I work on anything like a canvas. I've tried doing, portraiture and canvas painting in the past, and it just doesn't click with me very well. There's something about it that just doesn't click with my brain as much as painting tiny people for whatever reason. That is so cool. What is that? This is a base for miniatures, but it's made up of a bunch of tortured faces, and I use it for examples. I use it for painting examples. I'm thinking you'd suggest assembling then painting, because I thought to paint every individual parts then assemble. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Not necessarily. Now heads would be fairly easy to paint separately then assemble, but generally my recommendation is to assemble as much of the model as you can and then paint it. If you were to paint all the different pieces on the sprue and then glue them together, there's more work you would need to do. You need to make sure that you're not gluing paint to paint, because that's gonna tear. That's not going to hold together very well. But you could absolutely, like, here's an example. This is a face for one of the miniatures that I'm keeping separate. This is a head that I'm keeping separate, and the reason I'm keeping this separate is because the way this head is mounted on the Space Marine is he's looking down. And if I were to install his head onto the Space Marine body here and he's looking down, it's going to be very difficult to paint him. So I'm keeping the head separate, but I've assembled everything else, and I'm keeping his backpack separate because his backpack has a lot of little fiddly arms, kind of like Doc Ock. Got a lot of little fiddly arms that I want to paint those separately. I want to keep that separate just because there's lots of little details I need to get to. So there's definitely reasons to keep things separate, but generally I assemble most everything together and keep maybe a couple parts separate. How do you get behind the cape? You can reach in with the paintbrush in there, but ultimately take a look at the mini, and on the table, if you're not going to see it and your opponent's not going to see it, why paint it? Like, if no one's going to see it, there's no reason to paint it. But that it does bother some people if they know that it's there and it's not painted. So in that case, you could keep the cape separate and paint it there, or you can just be really careful and paint the cape early in the process and then paint over any mistakes you might make. That's another option. There's a lot of different ways to approach painting your miniatures, and they've all got pluses and minuses to them. Yeah, you're very welcome. How long should you wait for Citadel primer to dry? I would say a couple of hours, because primer, it's not just drying, you also want the primer to cure. And if I have my druthers, like in an ideal situation, I will prime a mini and I'll leave it for 24 hours. If I'm in a rush, then I'll prime it and I'll let it sit there for 30 minutes to an hour, and it'll most likely be okay. But generally, I try to let it go for a couple hours, if not 24 hours. Have you ever painted any of the 8-inch McFarlane figures? I have almost all of them, but I just haven't painted any of them. I have so many other projects to do that I haven't worked on any of them yet. But I've got all of them, almost all of them, including the Orcs, the Space Marines, most of the Chaos Space Marines, the Imperial Guard. Yeah, I don't know why I even got the Orcs. I'm probably going to get rid of them, but like, the main ones I was interested in were the Chaos Space Marines and the Space Marines, and then I just got into my completionist brain. It's like must have all. I'm not super happy with the Orcs that McFarlane does. They're too they're not orc proportioned. They're like just bulky human proportioned, and I'm not impressed by them at all. They just look like big humans. They don't look like, they don't have the big gorilla type builds with the giant lanky arms and, you know, hunched over, anything like that. They don't really, the physicality of an orc isn't there. I have a big mecha, and yeah, the rest are pretty cruddy. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, they're not bad. They're just not. They're not what I was expecting from McFarlane with orcs. I was expecting like actual orc physiology, like actual orc proportions, and we just got big human proportions. That's all we got. Which is not what orcs are. They're not big humans. They are fungoid ape-shaped, gorilla-shaped dudes. At least your classic orcs are for 40k. The orcs in Age of Sigmar are significantly different. They're not fungoid. They don't have the same type of... They don't have the exact same type of gorilla builds. And then there are there's two distinct groups of orcs. There's different species of orcs. There's the iron jaws, and then the other ones, the swamp ones that are more cunning than brutal. Yeah, Cookcrafter, growth can be inconsistent at different rates for different people. That is very true. It's sometimes you get used to a character, and then all of a sudden they say or do something, and you're like, oh, you're very different now. So sometimes we just don't even notice the growth, or sometimes it just happens really, really fast. And yeah, you'll see that with Carl, and especially Donut. Like, I think Donut has grown a huge amount as a character and as just a person since book one, definitely. So now I'm going to take some dark brown and mahogany, and we're going to do some dark lining, and this is just going to set apart some of these details from the red, just to have some visual separation here, just so that I can start on that and get an idea. We do need to go over the black areas again and get that black reestablished there. But I am liking this dusty red as it was described. I think it looks pretty good. Okay. Black. What's everybody been working on? Anybody been working on their own projects? We are going to be doing our community spotlight here in about 15 minutes. Got 12 minutes or so before our first break. We try to take a break every hour just to make sure that, you know, we're not hunched over for multiple hours at a time, and people have a chance to use the bathroom, get some water without missing anything. So we'll have our scheduled break is coming up here in just a second. Now, one of the reasons I'm going over this with black is one, I've kind of lost a lot of the black when I was painting the red. But also, even if this was all just black and I wasn't doing any red, the black that I put down initially is just primer. And primer black has a different finish than paint black. And I want a consistent finish. I want, if I mess up on something and I paint over it with black, with black paint, I don't want the finish to be different than the rest of the black on the miniature, because then it'll stand out that I did something weird there or I fixed a mistake. So I'm trying to go in here with black and establish kind of what a base black looks like on this particular model, so I don't have to worry about having things misread. I finished my Custodian Guard, and now I'm starting my Custodian Wardens. Nice, nice. Excellent. Your two tips have definitely helped out. Wonderful. That makes me very happy. I'm glad to hear that. I'm useful. That goes against my name. What's your favorite Chaos model? Oh, man. That's a good question. Hi. It's good to have you. Hey, SailArt91, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Great Library. Grab a chair, join the discussion, or just sit back, relax. Pick a book off the shelf, snuggle up next to the fire. Whatever you decide to do, I'm happy you're here. Welcome, welcome. My favorite Chaos model. There's a lot of really good ones. I'm gonna say the Aspiring Sorcerers from the Thousand Suns are some really nice ones. I like their variety, but I also just like how very, I think they hit the whole, superhuman, post-human, demon-possessed, magic sorcerer feel. I think they nailed that really well with that kit. I flicked some paint onto my red, but fortunately it was in the dark area of the red, so that's going to be easy to cover up. How about you, Matt? Do you have a favorite Chaos model? Or a favorite model in general? What about anybody else? What's your favorite 40K model if you have one? If you don't have one, what's your favorite miniature? Nobody has any favorite Chaos models? Okay, I don't believe y'all. Everybody's got a favorite bad guy. I mean, 40K is replete with bad guys, so everybody's got to have a favorite bad guy, because nobody's not a bad guy. Everybody's bad. Typhus? Oh, Typhus is a good choice. I like, or the Blighthaller. The Blighthaller is really nice. That's a really cool model. I agree. It's very nice. Magnus is a nice model. Magnus is a nice model. You know, a model that I think doesn't get a lot of attention, because it's slightly older, not too much older, but slightly older at this point, is Karn. I think Karn's redesign and re-release was just wonderful. They did a really good job with him. Now, I don't know why he was released so early compared to the rest of the World Eater redo, but they did a good job with him. It was literally years later that they released the rest of the World Eaters models. They put out a Karn redo, and then years later the rest of the World Eaters. I don't know why that took so long, but that is what happened. We got 5 minutes before our break time. During the break, I am going to stop painting. I do stand up and walk away from the model, so you're not going to miss any painting. If you head up and get off during the break, that's perfectly fine. That's what it's there for. So no fear that you're going to miss anything or miss any questions being answered. We don't do any work during the break. And just a reminder, when the break is over, we'll be going into our community spotlight. So where we show off what people have been working on since last Friday, what they've shared in the Discord. So if you want to share anything, feel free to hop into the Discord and share it there. If you don't want to share anything, but you want a place where you can ask questions during the week and show off what you've been working on, or get feedback directly for some really cool people, you can hop into the Discord as well. Certainly not required, and you don't have to stay there if you don't want to. We are also doing a giveaway at the end of the month for a full set of the Woolman miniatures that we've spent some time painting over the last couple weeks. These are more D&D focused minis. Here's our bat guy. So we have a set of these unpainted with all their different equipment and weapon options. And then we've got our Goatkin. We painted him up like Prepotente from Dungeon Crawler Carl. And then we have the Mossling that we finished on Tuesday. And a set of these, all three of these, will be given away at the end of the month. So if you're interested in checking that out, doesn't cost anything at all. You just go into the Discord and put in Woolman Doot in the Woolman Doot giveaway channel. You just type in the word Woolman Doot, and that's how I'll know that you're interested, and I'll count that as an entry. So it doesn't cost anything. That's it. Hellstalker is my favorite. Hellstalker. Is that that's not the special raptor, is it? Hellstalker. Which one is Hellstalker? Oh, the Lord Discordant on Hellstalker. Gotcha. I keep forgetting he exists for some reason. I know what you're talking about. That's a very cool model. I'm also surprised that we don't see more of him painted up by anybody. You'd think that such a cool model would get a lot more people painting him for competition and just really high level stuff, but he's also super busy. I can imagine it would be very difficult to get him to read without being overly confusing to the audience, to the human eye. I could see some difficulty there, but he's a pretty cool model regardless. Right. All right, we're going to go ahead and take our break now. Set this guy right here. So we're going to take a 3 to 5 minute break. So stand up, walk around, get some water, hydrate yourself, stretch, and we'll be back in about 3 to 5 minutes.
I fell into the void to escape all the noise. Now I'm so paranoid.
All right, we are back. Oh, let's see. I'm going to build an Eldar patrol that destroys all of the Emperor's light. Do it. Go for it. Absolutely. The Emperor is a jerk and he deserves it. Go for it. Hello, what is Necromunda? Necromunda is a, thank you for the question, first of all. Necromunda is a smaller scale game set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe where you are your army, instead of big army, you control a gang in the shouldn't be muted still. Am I muted? Am I muted? No, I'm not muted over on I'm not muted on TikTok or on Twitch. Am I muted over here? Now we can hear. Okay, cool. But yeah, Necromunda is a game set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe where you control a gang of criminals in the Underhive or the underworld of a gigantic hive city set on the planet of Necromunda. And so it's just kind of a different scale of game, just a different kind of vibe where you're not fighting for the stakes of the survival of the human species, or you're not fighting against the overwhelming might of chaos. You are fighting for your everyday survival. So lower stakes, still high stakes to you, but lower stakes, and just a different way of experiencing Warhammer 40,000. There are plenty of books set in Necromunda. You can find a lot of Black Library books about it. You get a good feel of what the world is like, but it is much lower stakes. But also some of the most creative miniatures and some of the coolest world building that Games Workshop does, in my opinion. If I had to choose the Underhive of Necromunda to be your birthplace or Cadia, which one? Oh, I'm not muted. How about now? Am I muted now? Sorry, everybody. TikTok's having a problem hearing me. How about now? What about now? What is happening? Okay. But Necromunda, the Underhive of Necromunda, or Cadia, most likely. You can hear me? Okay, thank you, Pikmin. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there. Oh well. Yeah, I'd probably choose Cadia, even though Cadia is not super ideal. I think in a lot of ways it's better than Necromunda. But they're both pretty hellish. They're both pretty bad because in Necromunda you're either fighting for your survival, or you have a place where your survival is probably okay. However, you work hellish hours, and your everything is dedicated to producing materials for the Imperial War Machine and for export off of Necromunda. Whereas in Cadia, you know, you're working the same types of jobs, but directly for the military. So kind of, yeah. It's a connection issue from the looks of it. Well, I don't have any physical connections between. Is it still it's not cutting out anymore, is it? Because there's no physical connection. There's a virtual cable in between the two, but there's nothing physical there. It's good now. Okay, cool. Yeah, that would be my choice. Probably Cadia. Cadia would probably be my preference over Necromunda, but who knows? Maybe I feel super crazy and semi-suicidal one day. I will say in general, living in Warhammer 40,000 at all in on any world or any circumstance, I would not wish on my worst enemy. You know, a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, most of the worlds that I like, you know, most of the IPs that I like, I could see myself living there, like Star Wars, obviously Star Trek, or even Mass Effect." You know, you could see yourself living there. You're like, no, not at 40K. 40K is not a world anybody should ever live in. No one wants to live in 40K if they've actually thought about it, because you're not going to be a Space Marine. You're not going to be an Imperial Guardsman. You're going to be one of the billions and trillions of indentured servants who's just either life expectancy is like a decade or two, or you're just a life of just numbing drudgery and nothing about human flourishing. Humans don't flourish in 40K. Humans exist. That's it. When I think of Warcry models, I love Warcry models. The Warcry is one of my favorite games out of all the Warhammer stuff. Unfortunately, it seems like Games Workshop is kind of, I don't know, they're either gearing up to just abandon it, which is unfortunate, but the community can keep games like that going. We've kept Mordheim going for decades. Warcry could be the same. Or they're getting ready to revamp it with maybe a new edition, which would be cool. But they haven't talked about Warcry in any direct manner for months and months and months and months and months. It's like it's not even on their minds. They don't put out any of the models into the stores anymore. They're online only. But the Warcry, the game is, in my opinion, fantastic. I loved it. I still like it. Warcry and Necromunda are the two Warhammer games that I still play. Not living the 40K uni, that's pure toxic. Yeah, no. Yeah, fortunately my LGS carries the models. I just got the Heart of Ghur box set. It looks like nice. Very cool. Yeah, the Heart of Ghur box set was pretty good. That's the one with the Stormcast and the hunters, the hunter group of the Flesh Eater courts, right? I ran the Flesh Eaters for a little while. I really like them. Or maybe I'm thinking of the wrong box. I still have all of the terrain unassembled from all of those boxes. I still have it all up there. I've got every set of the Warcry terrain that they put out for Ghur. All the bamboo, like the muscle trees, all the bamboo trees, all of the lizard man pyramids and other ruins. I've got all of those all in bags up there that I need to sit down and paint, because there's at least 1 or 2 full tables for AOS just available there, and all of that, as well as obviously multiple Warcry tables. I just need to sit down and figure out like a nice repeatable color scheme for the trees and for the bamboo, so I can bang those out really fast. But yeah, I made a point to collect as many of those as I could. I wanted to collect each one of those sets. Okay. Let's see. We're gonna... Now, when I paint black armor right now, what we're gonna try, we may end up redoing this, but when I do black armor, this is generally the type of black armor that I do. I use blue-gray to highlight, and it makes the black armor cold looking. This is more of a glossy black armor, which we're not going to do for these guys. We're going to do more of a dull black for them, but I do want to go with the blue-gray, at least for now, because the rest of their armor is very warm. It's all reds, you know, and the some of the metal trim I'll be doing in bronze here and there. But for the black armor, I need to have something to do the edge highlights with, and we're going to use blue-gray for that. And we're just going to experiment. We're going to experiment, see how bright we can make that. Again, I don't want this to be like glossy black armor, so it's not like black metal. But we do need to have some edge highlights here. And I do like to alternate between warm and cold in my color scheme. So if I've got 2 different materials next to one another, I will tend to make one warm and one cold. That's just kind of my default behavior. So we'll see how this works out. Collect them all there. So yeah, that's what I ended up doing. Grabbed them when I could, when I knew they were available. We'll need to make sure that we are outlining the different pieces of the fist here. Now I am probably going to have to go back in with black to neaten some of this up, because a couple of these areas are starting to look more blue than black, and I don't want that. I want it to still appear black, just with blue highlights, but these are so small and my brush control was so poopy there that I kind of lost control of that. So something you can do is, if you're doing black or any other color and you've done some edge highlight and you've messed it up, you can go back in and just paint down the middle, like on this trim here. And I'm just going to try and stay in the middle there just to neaten things up. Yeah, it's bringing it out just a little bit. Can I get any closer? Yeah. So we got these fingers here again for the fist, and so I'm just going to go at the top of each of these shapes for now. Okay. Yeah, Warcry is going to be the fantasy fix, and currently playing Blackout for more modern. Very cool. Yeah, I didn't pick up any Blackout minis at Adepticon. I did pick up some Arsenal minis, which I'll be working on after I get back from Origins, so in about a week. And the Blackout and the Arsenal minis are very, very similar. They're very, very similar in vibe and theme. It's just the games feel a little bit different. So I am also kind of getting into the vibe of that. Arsenal, whereas Blackout is more like small squad based. With mechs, it's a little bit bigger. Arsenal is you've got 2 mechs. Each one has a pilot. It's basically Titanfall. But then your squad of guys there's only 12. You've got 12. 5 of them are deployed at a time, and as they drop, more guys pop in. So it is a much smaller scale game. But this is a special edition pilot that I picked up at Adepticon for Arsenal, and you can see, if you're familiar with the Blackout minis, he's very similar in a lot of ways. I'm pretty sure it's by the same company, the sculptor anyway, for just 2 different games. And this is a big heavy LMG guy whose job is actually to take down mechs with his massive gun, but he's also for Arsenal. There were some Blackout minis that I was very, 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 very tempted by that I'm still looking at. But as far as gaming goes, right now I'm just not playing a whole lot of games. Mostly focusing on just having fun painting, relaxing. I am getting ready to put together a small 1-page rules Grimdark Future list using Vestroyan models from the old metal Vestroyan models from 40K, just because a friend of mine had a few of them that I bought off of him, and then I've been able to pick up a couple more with the made to order thing that GW did, and then eBay and a couple local guys. So I've just got a small group of guys that I want to do. I don't want to do 40K. Like, I have zero interest in 11th edition personally. But doing a small force for 1-page rules would be kind of cool, especially since 1-page rules is working on a combined rule set with at least 14 different miniature companies, where those miniature companies are developing rules for all of their models to be used in 1-page rules. So Privateer or Steamforge Games is one of those companies. So all of your, like, a lot of Warhammer or War Machine models will be compatible with 1-page rules, and you will be able to play like War Machine versus 40K in the same game, stuff like that. You look like the person that will tell me that you can only spare 3 Marines. Maybe. I'm taking a break, okay? Sparing 3 Marines at a time is a lot of work. It's very stressful. And don't ask me why I'm painting a heretic. He's this is for target recognition. Yeah. I'm painting him for target recognition. The more familiar you are with their color scheme and what they look like, the faster I'll be able to acquire them with my bolter when I finally go up against them. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm painting. So that I can kill them faster and better and identify them more effectively for the Emperor. Yeah. I have been painting some of the Emperor's finest in kind of shiny armor. This is an old Mark III Space Marine. I have also painted a Primaris Marine. I've also painted a Chonky Marine. And lastly, a mascot, a Quacker Marine. He's not quite done. But I've painted quite a few Marines. So it's not just the traders. I've also been studying our own marks of armor to make sure that I know of all of the weaknesses, so that we can compromise or compensate for them. Yeah, not compromise, compensate. Rainbow Warriors, that can be hard to get that helmet right. Yeah, there's a lot of breath holding. But it's really satisfying to sit down and paint like a Space Marine from 1987 as a Space Marine from a Space Marine chapter from 1987. Like, that just feels really good. But yeah, there's a lot of breath holding when you're doing the stripes. Do you have any tips on painting orc vehicles? I'm getting into Speed Freaks and feeling overwhelmed. Sure. Speed Freaks, those are mostly red, right? Because red makes them go faster, right? So what I would recommend is that you either start with prime your models black, just because that's going to be black or brown, either one of those, but black is going to be the easiest to find. And then I do all of your metallics. Just either get a rattle can of metallic or paint everything metallic. Just get that out of the way, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be metallic on orc vehicles, and then you can go in with your red and or your other colors over the metallics. It might take a couple of coats, but painting over metallics is going to be easier than painting over just pure black. It'll cover a little bit better. And so the main thing is don't think about every detail on a vehicle. Think of the vehicle as a box and the wheels as little cylinders, and maybe get a little bit more complicated with that, which maybe it's a couple sets of boxes. Break it down into its simple shapes and approach those. Because you want to, like when I'm painting a model like this, I'm not thinking about every fold in his face. I'm not thinking about this belt. When I paint the chest, I'm thinking about just this chest in general as a general shape. It's kind of spherical. It's also kind of a cylinder. So I'm not thinking of this with every little bolt and every little vent or anything like that. I'm thinking of this is a cylinder. and it curves out like this. So I need to put paint here because I want this part of the cylinder to be red. There's a belt. Well, that's a strip, so I'm just going to do that as black. And then there's other parts of the cylinder underneath it. So I'm just thinking of each piece as a whole. And then after I get my base coats down, then I can start focusing in on more and more detail. So if you're feeling yourself very overwhelmed, think big shapes first, paint those. Then focus down into smaller shapes and then smaller shapes, and you're getting into more and more detail as you go. Does that make sense? I have one of every Rogue Trader Marine, but not the Rhino Marines or the Jet Bike Marines. Nice. I think I have most of the Rogue Trader era Space Marines. I do have a lot of both the bikes and the jet bikes. I don't think I have all of them, but I have quite a few of those, and I have at least 2 of the Rhino Marines that I'm very, very excited to have. But yeah, it sounds like you too are a person of culture, Broadside. A fellow collector of Rogue Trader era goodness. Yeah, Pigpen's got another example. Prime your orc black, rattle can with you use a red as a rattle can from above, and then do your metals and then do your greens. So that's another way to do it. There's got a couple of different ways, but the big picture is start with the big shapes and then work down into the smaller shapes and the details after that. That way you're not getting lost, because it's really easy to get lost in the sauce when it comes to when you see every little rivet on like an engine block or like a cowling for an orc vehicle. Don't worry about the rivets, don't worry about the details, don't worry about the engine. You see block needs to be metal or block needs to be red, and then you can focus down more and more. Just give yourself a system of big to small on the vehicles. That will help you process through the overstimulation you're getting from all the details, because that's very, very common. A lot of people get really stuck and not able to move forward confidently because they're not sure where they're going to paint first or what to paint, or there's so much stuff to paint. Break things down into smaller sections, into smaller bites, and focus on those, and only focus on those. Ignore everything else, and then you can come back to everything else later. But for right now, focus on the big shapes. Hopefully that's helpful. And that's true for individual orcs as well, not just big vehicles. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it wouldn't make sense to go small to big on canvas, right? So it's helping people, hopefully giving people suggestions and a way to tackle these types of things that they can apply systematically to other projects as well. So I agree with you, Pikmin. Big to small is kind of a fundamental. Yes, Arsenal and Blackout models are very much alike. Those you showed very similar to the ones of the handlers. Yeah. Does that help your number one hater? My number one hater, I guess? I don't know if it does. Hopefully it does. Oh, shoot. I kept talking about doing the community spotlight, and here I am just working on this, and it's been 30 minutes, and we haven't done the community spotlight. Oh my god. I knew something felt weird. Okay, let's pop over to Discord. Sorry, everybody. That's 100% my fault. Let's see. When was the last? On the 5th. Okay. We've got a lot of posts since the last one we did. Okay. So he's adorable. So we're gonna do that. Oh, we did that one already. Yeah, we haven't looked at this yet. Okay. All right, give me a second, everybody. Let me open up some of these here. Man, Pikmin, these photos look great. I know you don't like them, but these photos from the 9th look great. I haven't looked at the recent one yet. All right, so we're going to go take a look at our works in progress. And here, speaking of orcs, look at that. That's cool. Let's see, who is doing this one? Rent-a-Monkey. This is Rent-a-Monkey. I forgot what these are called, but they're not as big as the Stompas. Not Mega Knobs. That's not. I can't remember what these are called, but these are more medium-sized, but still really, really cool. You see how you could just focus on sections are just one big color, and then you can come into each more of the details and just focus in a little bit more on each pass. Then it looks great. Look at that. Look at all the welding cut lines here from the orcs. That's awesome. That's a really cool detail they added in. Yeah, this is awesome. I like all the dry brushing you've got of the metal over the red to make the red look like it's being chipped down, it's being worn down. Love the yellow contrast you did over the silver to make it look kind of gold. Very nice. This is really good. Good variety colors without looking too incredibly busy. Messy without being overly messy. Very nice. Good job. That is Stompy indeed. All right. So this is a model Pikmin is working on, or has been working on for a little bit. These are a set of photos that he put in the works in progress on the 9th, a few days ago. He's got some more recent ones here, but all I want to say is these are gorgeous. She's beautiful. This is a fantastic model. I think the skin tones look wonderful on her. All of the colors, the details. You've got the non-metallic gold looks fantastic. Love this orange with the flower embroidery, the teal with the embroidery, all the patterned cloth. That looks really, really nice. She's beautiful. Love this non-metallic metal. That looks really good. It's a slightly colder metal. It's more like the golds that I do, rather than, you know, like a really warm non-metallic metal. And I like the fact that we can play around with that a little bit. But I like it a lot. She's beautiful. So we'll see more recent photos of her soon. Her hair just always makes me really happy. Just the the amount of braids she has is just fantastic. That is so much weight on top of her head. She's got to have like a neck. She's got to have some neck muscles. But I just love seeing people with braids and their natural hair. I just think it looks amazing, and I would have so much fun painting those braids. That'd be so much fun. There's another angle. Love this blue, how vibrant it is. She's gorgeous. Yeah, the blending of the skin is just, God, look at that. That's just beautiful. Yeah, absolute queen. It looks amazing. Cannot wait to see her finished. All right, let's open up the next. Oh, this is the Ghoul King, and then we've got another orc here. Nice. We've got an update from there. Okay, so we're gonna look at this. Look how red. This is another orc. I think this is a heavy conversion, because I don't recognize this orc model, but I see lots of what look like scratch built sections, like a zap gun over here, little pincer arms here. There's an orc icon here. Exhaust ports up here, some scratch built rocket launchers and Gatling. This looks great. I think this looks awesome. This definitely looks kind of orky to me. 100% with the spikes and everything. This is going to look really cool when it's all finished. I like this a lot. She'll be with me at LVO along with the 140mm version. Excellent. Very cool. I don't know if I'm going to be at LVO. I don't know. I have not planned out that far into the year. Origins on Tuesday. I fly out for Origins, and that's the last planned convention that's out of town for me that I'm going to. All right. All right. Here we've got the Flesh Eater Quartz, the Ghoul King. I forget his name, but I really like the heavy shadows here. Really kind of almost cell shaded in a way. But very, very nice. Nice dramatic shadows. Pretty saturated red orange here. That looks cool. The front here, just love the black and white vibes of the skin and everything here. It's just so, it's very moody. It's a very moody piece to begin with. The sculpt is very moody and very dramatic, but this color scheme is really adding to that. I think with the type of colors that are being used with this more orangey pyrrole red, it feels like an older painting, right? Like an old painting as opposed to something more recent. I like that a lot. Who did this one? The Last Hut. I like that a lot. This is from The Last Hut, and he's done a fantastic job. Really, really nice. Not all of these. Okay, so let's bring up more. So these are from Wired Hyena. This is the ferret with the ferret mount with mouse. I believe it's a mouse rider. This looks good. The fur is looking incredible on this. Every week the fur is just getting better and better and better. Especially with the light placement and everything. Looks nice. Lots of different hues and tones in the fur. And And there it is on its base. That's going to be really cool. So let's go look at that. Boop. Here we go. The fur texture is, yeah, the fur texture rendering is really nice. You can see underneath you've got the cooler tones for the fur that's not directed at regular light, direct warm light from the sun. We'll also see on the base down here that a lot of the light is going to be, some of the light's going to bounce off of here, but some of it's going to come off the green of the ground, and that's going to reflect cold light up, and that can counteract some of the warmer yellow light. So that can add to it, but also shadows tend to be rendered as more blue anyway. And the wicker work is really nice here for the chest plate, the ropes for the saddle look awesome. So does all the fur work underneath, where it's blocked off from the sun. And you see we've got nice exposure to the sun up here, nice and bright, and then down here where it's shielded from the sun up here, then we've got some darker sections for the saddle. So we've got some drop shadow here underneath. A lot of variation in the colors. We've got some reds, we've got some blondes, we've got some ivories or some equivalent colors here. We've got some purples, we've got some blues underneath. Lots of nice variety in the colors to make everything up. Yeah, I've got a drop shadow here. This is a really nice sculpt too. I love weasels. Weasels and ferrets, they're adorable. And there he is on his base, one angle. There's the other angle. Thank you. The little ticks for the fur is weirdly calming. Yeah, I believe it. It's very repetitive, but it works really well. Well done. Very, very nice. Okay. Here are Pikmin's updated photos for his model. The lighting's a little bit darker. And then we've got some Chaos Dwarf stuff here too, so we'll take a look at that. All right. Yeah, you can see the lighting's a little bit darker here, but the colors have definitely been intensified. I like that. Archduke Mousen, nice. Couldn't find the exact maker, but these files seem to have gotten around. Okay, for the ferret, the Archduke Mousen. That's cool. Yeah. She's looking awesome. The biggest thing I'm noticing is she does appear overall darker and a little bit more her hair seems to be better exposed. The colors definitely seem more intense. She's still gorgeous. The skin is crazy. Her musculature is fantastic. Yeah, the lighting, I like the lighting that you've got going on. There's a lot of like the direct lighting, and then you've got the shadow in behind, and you've got the shadow down here. So she's got a lot of really nice environmental lighting affecting her. So it's like this is all in shadow back here, and then in front she's fully exposed out to the sun. I like that a lot. She's gorgeous. Maybe someday I'll be able to see her in person. I'd love to. All right, and here we've got a Hellsmiths of Hashut from Gus the Regular Guy. This is one of their big Minotaur-like automatons powered by demon magic and demon souls. That looks awesome. Love the cold gold, kind of greenish gold, against the pink and magenta or the fuchsia and purple smoke going into the purple dark gray smoke up here. This looks awesome. I like this color combination a lot. And here's the back. Only issue I'm having is the fire doesn't feel hot. It doesn't feel bright. It's the only issue I'm having with it. The color looks really good. I like the color composition of everything. It just doesn't look like fire so much. The shape and the smoke obviously makes it look like fire. It just doesn't look like it's very hot. Because there's no like intense glow of the center and the hardest the brightest glow of the flame. But the magenta against the green gold is wonderful. Yeah, the green toned gold looks great against that magenta. Absolutely. But it just doesn't look like hot fire, because there's no near white intense points of fire, because fire gets brighter and closer to white the closer to the source of the heat. Now, this could be like soul fire, so you could just say, look, it's not actual fire, it just looks like fire, but it's actually just souls. And that works. That works too. It's just something that, that pinged out at me of just like, meh. It looks really cool, it just doesn't look hot. But it looks awesome. Yeah, I'd say it needs some form of center point, but also a lot of these things, it'd be really difficult. Like the center point could be like right here to show, and maybe in the edge here down at the bottom. Center point could be somewhere in the middle here on the edges, but you couldn't make the center point in here because this is a bigger body of flame, right? You're not going to see that center point there. It would be along the edges, a lot like some of the plasma effects we see from people. Kind of like this. Like where the heat is at the heat of the brightest point is not in the entire center. It's down here where it's most intense. So doing something like this on those fires would make them look more hot and intense, but it could also not be in line with what Gus wants to communicate, that this is soul magic, not necessarily pure fire. It just kind of depends. So have to paint your Oberon. I got you. All right, let's see. I think that was everything for the works in progress. Let's go take a look at the completed projects. Yeah, we've got a few things. Okay, let's open this up. So Count Zacula has been working on his Space Wolf kill team. These look really, really cool. He does more of a grimdark painting style, so let's take a look. These here. He does a lot more grimdark, heavily textured, lots of banged up areas and dirt. It looks really, really cool. A lot of these heads are from a Victrix Viking model kit, a historical model kit that he's plundered for some heads. It looks really cool. It's done a good job with these conversions. These types of half mask helmets, these are from Victrix as well. But these look really good. Really, really dirty, messed up or yellow here, and really not a skull that hasn't bleached very well. There. Excuse me. Yeah, these look really cool. These all together, these are gonna look really, really nice. The wolf looks nice as well. Nice transition from lighter color up into darker, up into black at the top. Looks very naturalistic. And then we've got a custom Nurgle Knight that is utterly disgusting. Prep your gird your loins. Lots of rust and chains and flesh. Lots of gore and slime. That's gross. Very nice. That's super nasty. Oh. Okay, we're gonna snooze ads so that we don't... Gotta try and get the rest of this done here in just a second so that you guys don't get cut off by ads, because they're about to run here in just a second. Let's do some orcs. These are from Comstock Crew. The orc, or sorry, the Nurgle Knight was also from Comstock Crew. Oh, Sunseeker. How did I miss your I missed your Space Wolf. We'll take a look at this guy first, since he's actually before Sunseeker, or before Comstock Crew. Sorry. And then we've got Vintage Wizard 70, another wizard. Now, I believe this is Logan Grimnar, right? But this looks awesome. I like the pose, like the ice. Like a spiky water or spiky ice down here. That's very cool. Bones. The lava effect on the axe is really sweet. A couple cyber wolves with cybernetic points here. Yeah, this looks really cool. I like this a lot. Love his skin. I love how pale his skin is. It almost looks like he's like frozen. It goes really well. The paleness of the skin really draws the eye right there. So it does a really good job of drawing the eye to the center of the model. And into the face, even though the face is super pale and washed out. This works really well, especially since the head is framed by this red, and then this axe kind of frames it underneath, so it's completely surrounded by warm tones from this angle, and that just draws the eye in towards the metal, and with this much brighter point. So there's a lot working here to get together to get you to look at the face, which is what you want for a lot of models. You want people to look at the face because that's where the eye naturally is going to go to, because the eyes are the window of the soul. Our human eyes, our human brain wants to see a face and decode and check the face for threat and for intention. So we naturally look there. And nothing you've done here distracts from that. This all frames the face really well without overwhelming it. That's nice. That's really, really cool. Okay, so we need to go back down into... There we go. Yeah, back to the orcs. This is from Rent-A-Monkey. Is this a zap gun or is this a shock attack gun? I can't remember. I don't know if they've got a different one. I don't see any snot lanes, so I don't think it's one of the teleporter weapons. But that is cool. Look at all these daisy chained batteries. Very orky, right above his head. Perfect. Perfect. Got his wrench there to fix anything that might come loose while he's using it. Makes sense. Industrial grabbers with like, what is that, an industrial punch? Turbine. This is really cool. I like this a lot. The orc models are really, really cool. They've always been really inventive and very Mad Maxy, but a lot of the new ones are really cool too. I'm excited to see what people do with the 11th edition box, especially with so many people starting new orc armies. Like every time a starter box has orcs in it, we just see a flood of new orc armies, which makes total sense. I remember when Assault for Blackreach came out back in 5th edition, that was a starter box that had Space Marines and orcs in it, and they originally sold it for $60. $60. The 11th edition starter box is $300. It's got more models in it, but the Assault on Blackreach had a good number of models in it. I know people that bought 6 of those boxes, sold off the Space Marines, and they had a massive orc army right off the bat, and the other person all of a sudden had a massive Space Marine army. So, you know, it'll be really cool to see a flood of new orc armies coming onto the field. Very nice. Oh. Snooze. Snoozing ads so that we don't get that. All right, let's take a look at Vintage Wizard. I see Warcrow. Vintage Wizard is painting Warcrow. Beautiful. Very nice. I like this. I like this yellow. I like this gold. Obviously, I approve of the hair color. 100% approve of the hair color. Where did my guy go? Where did I put him? Here he is. Love that. I love how clean this is. It almost looks like a 3D render. It's really, really nice, clean layers. Very, very nice. I'm looking forward to painting the rest of my Mount Haven. Yeah, love the teal. Really nice. Definitely sticking with the art, with like the box art approach to of kind of a warm gold teal armor with silver. Yeah, this looks really nice. Love the details on the face. Got the reflection point on the hair, on the top of the mustache. Got the little button nose here with the top. The bridge here, highlighted both nostrils, underneath on the cheekbones. This all looks really nice. This was really well rendered. Very, very nice. All right. So that looks like it's everything for the community catch up presentation. Thank you all so much for sticking around. I appreciate it. Thank you for posting all the stuff you've been working on. It was really cool to see all of that. I love seeing all the stuff y'all are working on, and I like giving you guys a chance to show off what you're doing. Here, for example, here's one of the Warcrow dwarves I painted, and you can see that we both made a similar choice in terms of the beard color and the hair color. You're painting a Lich King mini? Ooh, like a World of Warcraft Lich King mini? Where'd you get that? Is that a 3D print? Royal Paxton? I remember when the Lich King. I remember when that event started. That trailer went so hard. Oh my goodness. Okay, we got 3 minutes before the break needs to start. So at that point, in about 3 minutes, we're gonna take a 3 to 5 minute break, and then after that, we'll paint for a little bit longer, and we'll see how much longer I'm gonna go for tonight. Just as a reminder, tonight's the last stream before Origins, so I will not be streaming next week because I'll be at Origins. We usually stream on Tuesdays and Fridays. Won't be there for either day. Won't be here for either day next week, because again, Origins. But then the following Tuesday we should be back, no problem, unless I'm utterly exhausted, in which case I may take another day. But generally, we should be back. I got it from the Wrath of Lich King Pandemic game box. Oh, very cool. Are you having fun with it? That's probably it's going to be a really cool model. I guess I was out of World of Warcraft so long I didn't even realize they released a box with a model in it. Well, either way, I hope you're having fun painting it. It's a very, very cool... The Lich King's a very, very cool character in general. Hey, Midnight Ghoul, how are you doing? We are working on a Reaver Captain from for the Red Corsairs. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. You get 36 ghouls, 7 heroes, 4 abominations, and the Lich King for $59.99. So crazy nice. That is a crazy nice. That is a crazy nice deal. That's a lot of really cool sounding models for not that much money. The abominations, like the big fat ones from Warcraft 2. God, painting those would be cool. How tall are they? Are these like standard gaming sized figures, or are these just really small, or what's the deets on how big they are? I don't know how familiar you are with tabletop games, but would you say these are like Warhammer sized or smaller? It's a cool looking model. Yeah, it's a really cool. The Red Corsairs, man, the sculpts they did for the Red Corsairs are really, really clean. Really cool. Not quite as much trim as the Chaos Aligned, the dedicated Chaos Aligned Chaos Space Marines, but still, you know, a decent amount to be respectable. I'm just glad that they didn't decide the pirates needed lace. Oh my god, can you imagine, like, chainmail lace on these things? That you have to paint that? Oh, good lord. That'd be so much work. Like, excuse me, I'm here to take all of your stuff in my chainmail cravat. Ha! On guard, walk the plank. Lace and trim would be crazy. Yeah, right? I mean, it would be cool, but oh my god, I would hate painting it. But don't get me wrong, pirates with lace, that goes hard. That goes super hard, but I also don't want to paint that. Painting that sounds miserable. The ghouls are very small? Okay. Well, thank you, Royal. Appreciate you explaining that. This still sounds really nice. It sounds really cool. Okay, we got about less than a minute before our break starts, so buckle up, everybody. We're going to go on a 3 to 5 minute break, and then we'll be back, and then we'll decide on how much farther we're going to go tonight. Don't have anything that I really need to get finished, so we may just go for a little bit longer once we get back. I don't want to send you to break and then immediately exit. That'd be a dick move. So we're not going to do that, but we'll get some more painting done, and then we'll find someone to raid out to. Darken this a little bit. All right, we're going to take our break. So we'll be right back in 3 to 5 minutes. See you in a bit.
might just, I need a month-long break from life. Just wake me up when it is time. Maybe I'll get back in my mind and try to fight a decent fight. I got a face made out of wax. I might just walk on broken glass, run on the ceiling really fast and make a mural out of glass. You say that I'm depressed, but I'm just disillusioned. I've just been feeling different. I guess I'm going through it. So I'll head up the mountainside to try to see the northern lights. Maybe the green and purple sky will help me start to feel alive. Feel alive. I feel I need a month-long break from life. Just wake me up when it is time. Maybe I'll get back in my mind and try to fight a decent fight. I got a face made out of wax. I might just walk on broken glass, run on the ceiling really fast and make a mural out of glass. I need a month-long break from life. Just wake me up when it is time. Maybe I'll get back in my mind and try to fight a decent fight. I've been driving down the road, but I can't get a grip. I've been telling everybody that I really wanna hit myself in the head with a big red sign saying stop overthinking or you might just die. You might just die. You might just, I need a month-long break from life. Just wake me up when it is time. Maybe I'll get back in my mind and try to fight a decent fight. I got a face made out of wax. I might just walk on broken glass, run on the ceiling really fast and make a mural out of glass. You say that I'm depressed, but I'm just disillusioned. I've just been feeling different. I guess I'm going through it. So I'll head up the mountainside to try to see the northern lights. Maybe the green and purple sky will help me start to feel alive. Feel alive. I feel I need a month-long break from life. Just wake me up when it is time. Maybe I'll get back in my mind and try to fight a decent fight. I got a face made out of wax. I might just walk on broken glass, run on the ceiling really fast and make a mural out of glass. I need a month-long break from life. Just wake me up when it is time. Maybe I'll get back in my mind and try to fight a decent fight. I got a face made out of wax. I might just walk on broken glass, run on the ceiling really fast and make a mural out of glass. I need a month-long break from life. Just wake me up when it is time. Maybe I'll get back in my mind and try to fight a decent fight. I got a face made out of wax. I might just walk on broken glass, run on the ceiling really fast and make a mural out of glass. I've been driving down the road, but I can't get a grip. I've been telling everybody that I really wanna hit myself in the head with a big red sign saying stop overthinking or you might just die. You might just die. You might just, I need a month-long break from life. Just wake me up when it is time. Maybe I'll get back in my mind and try to fight a decent fight. I got a face made out of wax. I might just walk on broken glass, run on the ceiling really fast and make a mural out of glass.
All right, we're back. Thank you so much for sticking around for that short break. Hope you actually it was a longer break than I was expecting, but thank you so much for sticking around. Hope you're all doing well. Got some more details to work on here. Couple more rivets. Pick some of these out here. Nope. This guy's got a big old belt buckle. As any self-respecting pirate should. Kind of pirate doesn't have a belt buckle the size of his entire ship? Okay, so there's a couple things I need to decide here when deciding to move forward on this guy, which will most likely be mostly off stream, but just to make sure you guys understand kind of my thought process, I want to work in some bronze here, some bronze non-metallic metal, because one, I think the bronze would look really good on this, but two, I want to use it because, I mean, I've finally figured out a bronze non-metallic metal recipe that I like, so I want to take the opportunity while I can on a project to use it. I think it'll be on the arch up here, this trophy rack. I'll make most of this bronze. The vents here on the like official artwork, those are gold or bronze or brass or copper. I'll probably make them bronze there. I think that'll look pretty cool. And then he's got other forms of he's got some, like an Aquila here. We'll make that gold. He's got a fleur-de-lis here. We'll make that. Oop. He's got a fleur-de-lis. We'll make that white, like ceramic white. He's got a Chaos Star here. He's got a belt, like a buckle here. He's got a belt sash. It's got what looks like flayed skin or just leather, most likely flayed skin turned into leather there. So we still got some more detailing to do. Obviously we got his head to work on as well. Got his cape back here as well. So we've still got plenty to work on him. Hey, Apex. Gold tooth in the waist skull. I'm not sure if that would be lore accurate. I mean, it could be. We could absolutely have like a gold tooth over here. Sure, why not? Let's have a little bit of bling. It'd be a nice little Easter egg for people to see. It'd be a cool Easter egg for people. Like, is that a gold tooth in the skull? Yup. Why? Because that's the only reason we need. Don't need another reason. Hey, Saber, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for checking in. Thanks for asking. Let's see. I don't know how much longer we'll be on for, just because I didn't have anything like really structured for this, but we can at least get some more stuff done here and there. So if we're going to do bronze, then the base color, the darkest color I use for bronze is black brown from Pro Acryl. And all the colors I'm using this are Pro Acryl colors, just because that was the line of paint that I've been using the most. It's also the one that I found the proper colors with. And I do have a video like explaining what I did to find these colors for the recipe, but basically I found a video with a piece of bronze, or an image with a piece of bronze on it that I really liked the color of. It was a heavily patinaed bronze, and I really liked the color of it. So what I did is I took a screenshot of that image, of that piece of bronze, and I threw it into color editing software, specifically the paint program here on my computer, but I could have put it into into GIMP or Photoshop or Inkscape. I could have put it into a whole lot of stuff. And then what I did was I used the color picking tool and found the deepest, darkest shadow I could, and sampled that with the color picking tool. So I got an idea of like, okay, what's the darkest color? And it's a really, really dark really dark neutral brown. And so I was like, okay, I think I know what brown I can use for that. Black brown is very neutral. It's not super warm. It's not super cold, and it's pretty darn dark. So I can use it for that. And then I chose the brightest point on the piece of bronze, like the brightest reflection, and that was kind of a really pale orangey flesh tone. So I found a color that was close to that in my Pro Acryl, which is warm flesh. And so that's our darkest, that's our brightest colored highlight. So we might still use some white somewhere, but probably we'll try to avoid it. But that should be the brightest. So now I have my darkest color and my lightest color. And so then I found a couple of in-between spots in between those two colors on that made up a large portion of the bronze. And those two colors were they were the equivalent of dark golden brown or close to it, and dark orange brown or close to it. So that process gave me these 4 colors to use for bronze non-metallic metal. And after some testing, so this is what that ended up looking like. Glad I followed you. Replaced a lot of political BS on my feed with some peak Warhammer alert. Oh, fantastic, Apex. Yeah, see, man, it's so hard to avoid all the politics and stuff. It's so hard to avoid that, or just get just enough to be to feel like you're informed and not just lose your mind. So tailoring in controlling your algorithm's tough. If you want more lore stuff, are you following Hoodguard? He's fantastic for lore. If you're not following Hoodguard, you need to be following Hoodguard for Warhammer 40k lore and Trench Crusade lore specifically. You will be now. Yeah, absolutely. Hoodguard. He's fantastic. And so here's a shoulder pad that I tried this recipe on first. And it's like that looks pretty good, you know. So then we did it on this armor here, and that looked pretty good. So, you know, that's the way I've been trying to figure out recipes for non-metallic metal lately. Here is what we did for copper. I followed the same process and found a reddish copper that I really liked, like a penny, and I used the same process. Use the color, grab a screenshot that represented what I liked, throw that in a color picking tool, and grab those colors and extract them and find equivalent colors in my paint range, and boom. And if I needed to, you know, if I knew the paint range had it and I just didn't have that paint, I went to my local store and bought it. So there are relatively easy ways for you to find out, you know,
is never late,
the recipes.
Frodo Baggins.
Oh,
Nor is he early. He arrives
precisely what it means too. Guardian, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome on in, everyone. Welcome. Guardians, how was your stream? Is it Guardians Shake My Head or Guardians MH? I see both, so I'm not sure which one it is. But welcome on in. Thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? What would you Guardians MH? Okay, cool, great. What was your stream? What were you working on? What was your stream about? What were you doing? Welcome on in, everybody. We are working on a Red Corsair Reaver Captain, just because we finished a couple of other projects last stream, and I'm out all next week, so I didn't want to start a new project before I was out of the state for a little bit. It was good. We're starting the Great Unclean One. Oh, that's a great model. Fantastic. Oh, in fact, because you're doing Nurgle, I grabbed a couple earlier just to show off, because a couple people were asking about Death Guard. This is fortuitous. Here are some Death Guard that I've painted in the past. And these were water-themed Death Guard called the Barrow Bound or Barrow Born. Excuse me. So Barrow, like Barrow trauma, depth pressure. Oh, I envisioned them as being like trapped underwater and having to go to Nurgle to survive. And then we've got our Lord here. It's just experimenting on tentacles. Those come out great, amazing piece as well. Thank you. Yeah, no, the tentacles was a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool ways that you can do that. You can start with your base color, then transition into another color by the end of it, and it just looks. It can look really, really cool. The tentacles look awesome. They're a lot of fun. But yeah, that's exciting. Are you doing the standard colors on the Great Unclean one? Are you doing anything kind of out of the ordinary, or what's the plan there? For those of you who are new here, my name is Ryan. I'm the Useless Wizard. Welcome to the Great Library of Magic. Specifically, welcome to my study here in the Great Library of Magic. You can wander around the library if you want to. Just be very careful. It is a magical library. There are book mimics. Just be careful. Just be careful while you're out there. Otherwise, you're free to hang out in here and snuggle up next to the fire. Grab a book off the shelf if you want, or engage in the conversation that we're having. We talk about all kinds of nerdy things, whether it's Warhammer, Necromunda, whether it's Dungeon Crawler Carl, or other book series that we're going through. Anime. I'm watching Witch Hat Atelier right now, and that's been wonderful. That's been really, really nice. Unfortunately, it's releasing on a weekly basis, so I can't just binge it like I normally do. But yeah. For those of you who want to know why I'm the Useless Wizard and why I'm down here in the library rather than up in the School of Magic where I belong, or thought I belonged, they kicked me out. They kicked me out because they didn't want a useless wizard down teaching classes in the Wizard School of Magic. So they sent me down here to act as kind of like a librarian. To keep students and guests like yourself as safe as I can, but also keep you company. Thank y'all for being here on this beautiful Friday night. I hope you're having a good one. Princess Donut is the go. Princess Donut is fantastic. Have we confirmed the entire library isn't a mimic? No, and don't ask that question. That's not a question we ask. Because what we don't know will probably might not hurt us. Might not. Speaking of Princess Donut, we just finished painting up some miniatures from Woolmandoot, and the goatkin was one of them, and we painted him up like Prepotente. Or fairly close to Prepotente. Prepotente is also fantastic. So we painted him up like Prepotente with his memorial stone up there. Now, Prepotente, the type of goat Prepotente has long, droopy ears. This model didn't have it, so we just went with the fur pattern and the eye color. But we had a lot of fun with this. You're on book 3 right now? Fantastic. For the Woolmandoot, we also painted the Bat Guy here. He was probably my favorite out of all of them. He's just fun. And then last stream, we finished with this Mossling. It's kind of a short and stout wood magical creature made of wood and moss and mushrooms. So we had fun with all of those. So yeah, your mention of Princess Donut just reminded me of Prepotente. So we just finished those. We are working on this Red Corsair Reaver Captain. Some of the other stuff we've been working on that we've painted on stream. We were just talking about how I figure out new non-metallic metal recipes for like this copper and for bronze. We're just talking about that. My goal here is not to just show off how well I can paint. My goal here is to continue to learn, show you how I figure things out, and how slow it is for me to learn about things, because I'm not the fastest person in the world. But also, the things that I've learned, I want to be able to share and teach new people. So if you have questions about painting, miniatures, Warhammer lore, Necromunda lore, stuff like that, please let me know. I'm happy to answer to the best if I can. And if I don't know the answer, I know where I can point you. So I love to teach. That's why I am here. I love to share my process with other people. I don't do this for a living. I don't ever want to do this for a living. But I do get to travel around the country and teach periodically. In fact, next week, I will be traveling to Origins Game Fair with Gamma and teaching some painting classes there. So if any of you are going to be at Origins, feel free to say hi. I'll be working the paint and take, but also teaching some classes. You're on book 3 right now. Nice. I just finished book 8, and you are in for a ride, Guardians. There are some wonderful, wonderful moments that you're coming up on. There are also going to be some heart-wrenching moments, and that's just kind of that's what we're signing up for with Dungeon Crawler Carl. In fact, a friend of mine and I were talking about, because apparently they're trying to do a live action Dungeon Crawler Carl at some point. And we were talking about either they're going to have to make it not incredibly violent, because Dungeon Crawler Carl is incredibly violent and gory as it's written. They're either going to have to make it not violent and gory and just make it really campy, which is an option, or it's going to be about as violent and gory and brutal as The Boys. That's how brutal the show is going to have to be if they want to stick to the same level of violence and mayhem that's in the books. It's going to have to be about as violent, if not more violent, than The Boys was. And that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot, because The Boys was horrifically violent. But that reflected in the comics. That was true to the comics. So I'm hoping that I don't hope either direction, but I hope that they think about that very closely. Because it will absolutely change how one feels about the story, how violent and brutal it is. Because if it's not super violent and brutal, then it becomes very campy, and the human cost of the dungeon becomes less painful. Much like what they did with Ender's Game. Instead, making all the fighters and stuff drones instead of actual pilots. Because in the book, in the final, he's directing actual fleets of pilots, and thousands of people are dying, and he doesn't know. He thinks it's a game, right? So that could dilute the human cost of the dungeon if they just go kind of campy with it. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how and what they do, if anything. Hey, Apex. Oh, sorry, I thought you left and came back. What's the brain explosion for? Did I just ruin the end of Ender's Game for you? A more than 20-year-old story that has had at least one movie, if not a couple movies made about it? I probably did. I'm sorry. You knew the movie, but not the other. Yeah, in the movie, they make it seem like he is just controlling drones, right? Yeah. In the book, he is not. He is controlling actual human fighting units and fighters, and thousands and thousands and thousands of people are actually dying. So the movie sterilizes that quite a bit, and just robs that revelation of a lot of its emotional impact. And not all of it, because, he's still committed, he still blew up the bug planet, right? So billions and billions of sapient beings have just died, but at the cost of thousands, if not millions, of humans. And he was not aware of that. So there's a double gut punch there, kind of. But if they do that, my only point was, if they do that with Dungeon Crawler Carl and don't keep the violence level, or at least aren't very careful with it, it could completely and utterly neuter the story. Hey, Lost Berserker, thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, it could completely and utterly neuter the story of how horrific the dungeon actually is. Nice paintwork. I now have red armor reference. Oh, excellent. Yeah, no worries, Trackit. This is what we're doing for the red armor is right now is started out with mahogany, or any dark, kind of really dark brick red that's well, not brick red, but any really dark reddish brown. So we start out with mahogany here, and then I went in with burnt red, and I mixed that with mahogany so that I would have something that looked like it was halfway in between these. Now, this is something with mixing paint. So keep this in mind. When you're mixing paint, you're not mixing one drop to one drop. If you want something actually in the middle between the two colors, you do not mix one drop to one drop. The reason for this is light colors are weaker when they mix. They're weaker than dark colors. Dark colors overpower bright colors, just the nature of the pigments. So if you want to get a color that is between these, you need to do something closer to 2 drops of this to 1 drop of this, because this is more powerful than this in the mix. Or you may have to adjust that back and forth a little bit, and you will have to visually tell and make a guess when you get a mix that's in between these. But a 1-to-1 mix is not going to get you a color that is directly in between these two. That's just not how pigments work. The darker pigments overpower brighter pigments, so you need less of this and more of this to get something in between these. So just keep that in mind. So we did a mix of this to get a mix in between these, and then we did just burnt red. And that's where we are right now. I don't know how much brighter I want to go. We might go a little bit brighter. If I go brighter, it'll probably just be a mix of bold pyro red and burnt red, like something in between there, just to punch this up. I don't want him to look like a Ferrari, right? I do want him to look kind of dusty, a little bit more of a little bit more of a subtle red. The other option is I could take this and some form, where did they go? I could take this in like a flesh tone, and this is brighter than this. So whatever I mix out of these two will be brighter than burnt red, but it'll be more neutral. It'll be a little bit less dramatic and not so sports car looking, but it also won't be as pink as if I had mixed in white to burnt red instead of tan flesh. This is not going to make it as pink. It'll still make it kind of pink, but not as pink. Demon Slayer, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. Yes, a Reaver Captain indeed. How you doing, Gus? Yeah, we're working on a Reaver Captain. I picked up the Masters of the Maelstrom box because I'd been wanting to... Out of the whole Masters of the Maelstrom box, the ones I really want to paint are the Dog Soldier and their companion animal. Because this is a new Xeno that we haven't had in 40k, or we haven't seen as a model in 40k yet, so that just made me like, I want to paint the Dog Soldier, and then I realized you can't get the Dog Soldier without buying the entire box. So I was like, all right, well, I've already got the Reaver Captain, I want the Dog Soldier, I have a little extra money, so I bought the whole box. So now I'm painting them as part of one of my projects. So still working on the Lieutenant. Still working on the Lieutenant project. It's a great box. It is a beautiful, beautiful box, and the characters in it are top class. Absolutely. Demon Slayer, I don't know if I said thank you, but thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Great Library. Grab yourself a chair, join the discussion, or just sit back, relax, grab a book off the shelf, and enjoy yourself. Whatever you choose, I'm glad you're here. So yeah, we've been working on this guy a little bit. Been doing the edge highlights for the black. There's still more cleanup I need to do because not a lot of these edge highlights just aren't very even, and so they just look kind of sloppy. And this is not something you generally have to worry about, but I'm going to, because I'm going to be nitpicky about it. So we got some of the blue on the red section of the shoulder pad. So now I'm taking some of that mahogany because it's a darker color, and it'll go over the blue very easily. And I'm doing an inner edge highlight to cover up a lot of that extra blue, and then I can go back in and redo the edge highlight with the blue all over again here. A lot of these things you kind of have to go back and forth a couple of times, especially as you get older and your eyesight gets worse. And sometimes I'll pull out my magnifying visors, my little magnifying goggles, and that helps. It's not always necessary. You painted Captain Scargata recently. Need to work on the others. Oh, very cool. Nice. Yeah, I got them all based. I got them all assembled. One I'm really looking forward to is the mage. I'm excited about the mage. He's going to be fun. And then, of course, we've got the axe-wielding executioner. He's going to be cool, too. And then I have the dog soldier and their animal companion together. I have not put Huron together. I don't know when I'm going to paint Huron. I'm not super excited about Huron, to be honest. I never have been. But I do have the apothecary. So I've got him in a sub-assembly. So I've got his body with his victim/patient down below. Got his backpack here. And then his, on the model, his face is pointed down at a really dramatic angle because he's looking down at this guy, right? He's looking down at this dude. So I decided not to put his face on because it'd be very, very difficult to paint at that angle. So I'm keeping him off. Oh, you swip the heads, the heads between the psyker and the headsman. That's fine. Yeah, whatever fits the vibe better for you, whatever you think fits better, absolutely, go for it. Let's see. I can kind of see that. Like I can see, you know, the skull with the with this, and then this on the headsman. I can see that. Absolutely. I just decided to build them stock, and I didn't put them on display plinths or anything. I didn't want to do anything super fancy. I just wanted to get paint on them. I just want to get going, because I find that when I put things on plinths, I slow down. I slow down the painting. I take forever. I don't finish the plinth. But when I get things on bases, I have less of a problem just starting to paint. And I'm not entirely certain why, but I do. So there's something for me to work on there. But hey, just getting into the hobby. I like the Alpha Legion. Where do I start? So with Alpha Legion, are we talking about like actually painting models and stuff like that? Because there's a couple of different ways that you can participate in the hobby or in 40K or Warhammer in general. If you know what Chaos faction you want to do, then you can look up some army lists for like, hey, I'm doing Alpha Legion for 40K. What do you guys suggest? You can look those up, and then you know you've got a list of stuff that you're going to want to get eventually. I would never recommend you buy everything all at once, because that's going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So what my recommendation is going to be, have you ever painted models before? It's Brittany. If you have not, then my recommendation is that you either buy a hobby, you know, like a starter kit from the Army Painter or Games Workshop, and you try just painting in general. See what you like about it. See if you do like it. See if it's something that you want to sink some time into, because if you're going to paint Alpha Legion or any other Warhammer model, you are going to spend hundreds of hours painting. So my recommendation would be to try some smaller stuff first. See if you even like painting. If you don't, maybe there's some other options, you know. But if you're not really interested in playing the game, but you still really like Alpha Legion, then you can just buy Chaos Space Marines and paint them as Alpha Legions, regardless of what the rules say. And you don't have to worry about, you know, building an army or getting everything all at once. You can just say, hey, that's a cool Chaos Space Marine. He would look awesome in Alpha Legion colors. I'm going to paint him as Alpha Legion colors. And you can just do that. You could just paint as part of the hobby. That's what I do. I don't even play the games very much anymore. But I still have 40K models because I like painting them. I think they look really cool. I enjoy painting them. So that's another option. You could also, if you're not really into the models, you could just read the books. Yeah, there's a lot of Black Library books on Libby, which is the library app here in the US. If you have a library card, you can get access to Libby, and then you've got free audiobooks and free ebooks. There are 40K books on there. You could, you know, get stuff on Audible, and just experience it that way. And then, you know, find the ones about Alpha Legion and just dive into those. So there's kind of different ways to do it. If you're looking at the army, then you need to look up some small army lists, like 500 to 1,000 points, and that'll give you an idea of what to buy eventually, and then, you know, start putting that together. Nice. Oh, thanks, Adam. Hobby, gaming, lore, or a combination of each. Yeah, exactly. Most people are doing some form of combination. I find myself out not doing the game as much. I have other smaller games that are still minis that I work on, but I do lots of lore, and I do lots of painting. I do lots of reading and things like that. So there's so many different ways to participate in the hobby. You don't have to think that just playing 40K on the tabletop is the only way to do it. So you are welcome to explore whatever you want. It's just, if you haven't painted minis before, and if you're not sure what to get, just take your time. Take your time. Don't rush, because it's a lot. I started with Soulblight, Gravelords, and Age of Sigmar, and got burned out because of the detail. Yeah, I got you. AOS has more complex minis. Yeah, it often does. It often does. So it's Brittany. I don't know if you're still here or if maybe I just completely overwhelmed you. I apologize. I don't know if you're still here or not. But do you have any further questions? You can start even smaller with Kill Team. That is very true, Gus. That is very true. Found out the hard way. I got tied up in the fantasy, but the detail is insane. It really is. Don't tell me what to do. Aw. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to participate. Okay, so like just example, I've already said that I paint a lot more than play, but I do things like this. I make this Deathwatch Marine here, and I just put him on a plinth because I just wanted him to be on a pretty plinth. Just tell a story through him. Did his base as like a Tau base that he's invading. He's got bullet holes and glowing shell craters. There, we just kind of told a little story with him there. That was a lot of fun. Another project that I'm doing is I'm doing a lieutenant in every mark of Space Marine armor, and this is Mark III. And so I'm doing a Rainbow Warriors lieutenant in each mark of Space Marine armor, which has been a lot of fun. We've got, I've built a model in every mark of Space Marine armor from 2 all the way to 10, except 9, because 9 never existed. But I've got those models done, and now we're just executing on those. Where do you get something like that? Oh, this is just a block of pine wood that I bought a whole bunch of them off of Amazon. So here's a 2x2 by 2. So it's a 2x2 block of pine wood. This is a 1.5 by 1.5, 1.5. I also have 1 by 1 by 1s. And what we did was got these, built the base on top. So you can build up either the Tau ground, or you can do like hills or streets or whatever you want there. Build that just like you would on a normal base, right? And then I use wood filler to fill in the wood grain on all the sides. Wait for that to dry, and then I sand with 200 to 300, then 1,000 grit sandpaper, or 800, then 1,000 grit sandpaper, and I'm just sanding. I'm trying to, basically you're doing cabinetry work. We're trying to make super smooth cabinets out of plywood. You're basically doing cabinetry work. And then when that's smooth, or as smooth as you can get it, including smoothing out the join between whatever basin material and the pine and the wood pine, then you prime it. Then I primed it, then I did gloss coats, then I did matte coats just to give it a lot of strength. And so this is just me trying to figure stuff out and learn it. There's so many different things you can make plinths out of, old medicine bottles, all kinds of different stuff. But you can also buy ready-made plinths, either 3D printed or made out of nice furniture-grade wood by different people. Green Stuff World sells regular plinths that are already sanded and everything for you, so you could use that as well. Can you explain the bottle cap mini holder? What do you use to hold the mini onto the cap? Poster tack. It's just poster tack, and the reason I have it like this is, one, when I'm on camera, it just gives me something to grab onto here without putting my fingers all over the model, because your hands are covered in oils, and those oils are kind of acidic, or they break down the paint. So the more you touch the model, the more paint's going to rub off. Like here, this keeps rubbing up against the side of my finger. And so it keeps getting paint rubbed off on it. So I have to repaint that. Additionally, your fingerprints act as really fine-grained sandpaper. And so if you rub a model enough, especially on a corner, you will sand off the paint. So I try to use bottle caps or full-on painting handles. Painting handles can take all kinds of different forms. So there's this one. This is just some turned wood that fits nice in my hand. I just put poster tack on top, slap the model on there, and away I go. I have also made some out of stuff that I got from Michael's art store. So I got a little plinth there, and then a wooden egg, because I like something large in my hand. Giggity. And then I hot glued those together, and then I took the top of a soda bottle, and I hot glued that there. So now I can just screw on one of the bottle caps that's got the poster tack there, and then I can just, I can hold this here and just paint and keep my fingers away from the model. And then because this is so large, I'm not gripping really hard, and so I don't have to worry so much about a lot of stress in my wrist, because I'm in my 40s, so I'm old. It just makes it easier to have a relaxed painting posture and painting grip. Hey, I was wondering if you have any experience with oils. I have a problem that my brush floods the model. So that's not something that's equal. That's not going to be something that is not something that is going to be unique to oils or acrylics. What is happening is your brush is oversaturated with either the oil paint with its linseed oil or with the acrylic paint with its water. What you need to do is, in either situation, you need to not load up your brush as much, but then you also need to touch your brush to like a paper towel or something to get rid of all that extra paint or that extra medium. And then when you touch the brush to the model, the natural capillary action of the bristles will act like it's supposed to, like it normally does. Because if your bristles are completely oversaturated, and say you've got like this is completely oversaturated, you can see there's paint on the outside of the bristles. That means this paint is not controlled by the bristles, and the capillary action of the bristles isn't going to control it. That's going to flood the model. So you need to make sure you need to have less paint in your brush, and then get some of that paint off onto your paper towel or your whatever have you. Another thing you could do with the oil paints as well as with the acrylics is you could not thin them down as much. So are you using like heavy body oil paints, or are you using something much thinner? Oil lamp black, so that's probably a heavy body. And are you trying to just paint, or are you trying to do washes? It sounds like you're just trying to paint. Because if you're just trying to paint and you're just trying to lay down a layer of black and you're not trying to... Oh, so you are doing a wash or panel lining. Okay. Well, with a wash or panel line, you do want it to flood the model, and then you just want to push the paint around. If you're doing panel lining, then yeah, you need to get some of that. You have too much on your brush. So you need to get some off, and then just, do some delicate panel lining around those areas with just the tip of the brush. If you're doing like a full-on wash, then flooding the model shouldn't be a problem, because then you just spread it around, and then after it's dried for a little bit, then you can come in with your mineral spirits and clean it up. I thought you were just talking about actually, just doing a layer of black, and then it was washing. So washing, there shouldn't be any problems with you. There shouldn't be anything wrong with it flooding the model. That should be fairly normal. If you're panel lining, yes, then you need more control. So in that case, load up your brush, touch it to a paper towel to get off any extra paint, and then you can do your panel lining with just the tip of your brush. Does that make sense? So let's say, just as an example, I have loaded up my brush here. Do I need mineral spirits if I'm moving? I've heard you can just wipe it off. Yes, you can. You can. Mineral spirits are generally what's used to thin out oil paints. So mineral spirits are going to help if you've let the oil paint dry for a little bit, which you need to. Then getting a Q-tip or a cotton bud or even a makeup sponge and with mineral spirits will help the cleanup. But you can, if you didn't let it dry for too long, then yes, you should be able to just wipe it off. I don't think it will be as clean a removal. But what I was talking before is, like, you see how I've got this brush loaded up with paint, and you see how it doesn't come to a point, and you kind of see paint on the outside. It's got too much. So I will touch the brush to a paper towel, and now I still have paint in there, but it's not going to flood the model. It's all under control. How do you load it? Sure. So when you load a brush, every time I get ready to put more paint on the brush, I rinse it out first. And I want my brush to be damp. This is with acrylics, okay? I don't work with oils very much, so I can't tell you about oils. But this is with acrylics. So when I get ready to go, then let's do this blue down here. My brush is damp, and then come on. I just put the tip, either the first third or the first half of my brush in the paint, and I pull it back so that, I've got some paint on my brush, and I don't want the paint to go past halfway because I don't want paint to build up back here, and I want all the moisture up here to not get mixed up with paint too much. And then before I go to the model, I then touch it to a paper towel just to get some of the extra off, so that I'm still fully, so that when I apply this to the model, it's fully under my control and it's not going to flood the model. And then I can go in, and when I touch the paint to the model, it doesn't flood, and I just do a tiny amount of pressure, and normal capillary action causes the paint in the brush to rush onto the dry surface, because that's what capillary action does. Water and stuff is always trying to find its level, so when water touches a dry surface, it's going to flood to it, and try and even out the amount of water in between the two surfaces. So and capillary action uses surface tension of the water to hold water in between two or more long strands. It's how fountain pens work. And then when you touch those strands to a dry surface, then the water runs along those and in between those onto the dry surface, and that's what lets you draw lines and apply paint in a controlled manner. So there's actual physics happening there, and it's your surface tension and your capillary action. Those are the two major things that, and water trying to find its equal. Water wants to be as evenly distributed as possible, but that's held back by surface tension as well. So there's multiple different physical things happening there, but and we're just using our stupid little sticks with the hairs tied to the end of them to control those natural physical phenomena, which is really cool. Oh, we just had a break go. Shoot, I'm sorry. You just finished the Lich King? Oh, awesome, Royal Paxton. If you want to show that off, you can throw that into either, do a TikTok and tag me in it, or you can hop in our Discord and post it there. I'd love to see it. Yeah, it is. It is Gus, the regular guy. He just finished painting that. Does that make sense, Flum and 3D Prints by Mark? Did with the how, or did I go too fast, or did that make sense? I probably went too fast. I probably went too... Yep, I'm going to start painting Iron Hands and need tips on black. Oh, very cool. Yeah, there's we are doing black here. So, there's a bunch of different ways to do black. The main thing to keep in mind with black is keep at least half of the surface actually black. 50% of the surface should be black. This is a shiny, kind of a glossy black that I was playing around with for Deathwatch. I think it worked out pretty well, but when you're painting something black, it's very easy to make it go gray. So keep at least 50%, if not more than 50% of the surface just black, and then do use your highlights sparingly to actually make the forms. Otherwise, you're just going to end up going gray. I've struggled getting back into painting since moving. I totally understand that, Boston. You got this. It can be hard to get back into, but you got it. Just do a little bit at a time, and even if you even if it's just assembling something or building a base for something and doing some basics, just tiny bits of hobby. If you like the Black Library books or you like listening to lore, do some of that. Just get your brain excited about the hobby again, whether it's Warhammer or something completely different. If you're painting for D&D, listen to some stuff that's going to get you excited about D&D. If your body's not wanting to do the hobby, that's fine. There are other ways for you to engage with the thing that you like that will help get your brain back into the readiness to do the hobby again. That there have been times where I've had to just stop. I stopped painting. I stopped streaming for like 2 months at a time for a few years because I just burnt myself out. And I didn't paint. I didn't build. I didn't do anything for 2 months. And then I started just assembling stuff again. I started listening to 40K stuff again. And then eventually I started streaming again and got back into it. But it takes a long time. Tag you my post. Oh, awesome, Royal Paxton. Appreciate that. I also wanted to do a Martian theme base. Any advice for that? Yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff you can do for Martian theme bases. If you're doing like, you could do cracked soil, stuff like that. The biggest thing that I'm going to recommend is for texture stuff is that you go to an art store and you get your crackle paste or your texture stuff from an art store rather than overpaying for Games Workshop stuff, to be completely and utterly honest. Let me bring it up. So I have stuff from Pro Acryl, which is reasonably priced. This is Fine Earth. I have Bear Cavalry ground texture. I like both of those, but the stuff I use a lot is stuff like this: golden pumice, coarse pumice gel, and golden fine pumice gel, and things like Liquitex crackle medium. These are the things that Games Workshop and other companies are packaging up, coloring, and selling at 2 to 3 times the cost. But you can just get this stuff from the art store. So I'd recommend doing that, personally. At least starting out that way. Hey, thank you so much for the gifts. Appreciate that. Marvin the Martian. Yeah, now that'd be cool. Right, rings of Saturn. All right, everybody, we've done a really pretty decent job of stuff today. A lot of edge highlighting, a lot of bringing up the reds, answered a lot of really good questions. Thank you so much for all of the questions that you asked. I very much appreciate it. We're going to end here tonight. We're going to end stream here. I'm not going to be streaming next week because I'll be at Origins Game Fair all week. But the week after that, when I get back, we'll be back on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, going till about now or maybe a little bit later, depending on how exhausted I am after Origins. But we normally stream Tuesday nights and Friday nights from 6 to 9 Pacific. I am working on releasing a tutorial or a hobby-focused TikTok every weekday. And I missed a couple of weekdays this week, but we're trying to do that every weekday, and I'm going to try and get a bunch ready to release on schedule during while I'm gone during Origins. So I'm going to do a bunch of filming tomorrow. Two of the things I'm going to do is some step-by-steps on painting gold non-metallic metal and silver non-metallic metal on these test models, very similar to how I did a video for this copper and a video for this bronze. So we'll have some videos out for those. I'll film those tomorrow, and then I've got other videos that I'll film just to fill in the time that I'm gone. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Take time to do the thing that keeps you sane this weekend, and we will see you on TikTok. We'll see you on Instagram. We'll see you at Origins if you're there. Let me know. And then, until next time, remember that painting is good for the soul. Have a good night, everybody.